they were gone. And when I say gone, I mean they were gone.
They were gone.
They were gone.
Good morning. Well, this is not the sort of video that I was hoping to have to make. For people who've been following a little bit, this is the wicking bed that Henry made a while back, and I had this thing planted with beets. Now, we've been having some issues with our greenhouse this spring in terms of controlling the temperatures, so we wound up leaving the door open, which is something I did not want to do because I was concerned about critters getting in here. And the day before yesterday, when I came back out here to check the beets, which by the way were about this tall, they were gone. And when I say gone, I mean they were like, I don't know, 60 some odd plants in here. I'll actually post the number. And because I was keeping track, I'm doing two different types of seeds in here. I'm doing Johnny's Touchstone Gold, and I'm doing Seed Savers Burpees Golden. I wanted to see which one seemed to work better in our area and which Henry liked better, because he really likes golden beets. And we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants that have real leaves left on here. This entire thing was full. Sometime during the day when we were not around, I would guess a rabbit got in here. And the reason I'm guessing a rabbit is because they also got up into the top of the other wicking bed over here and ate a bunch of the radish leaves and some of the carrot leaves. But fortunately, they had already gorged themselves on the beets, so they did not decimate completely the other bed. So there's plenty of time to replant. I am not amused or happy by this, but I'm not going to let it stop me. So today I'm going to replant both of the beets, and we'll see if this time we can keep the rodents out, or whatever it was, rabbit. I think it was a rabbit. So I'm just going to make little holes in between existing or potentially existing plants. Some of these I think will make it. Others I'm pretty confident won't. I've learned from experience before that when you have that big a damage, a lot of times you're better off just saying bye. But I'm going to plant new seeds. Fortunately, I have new seeds. Sometimes you don't, but that's another story. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replant this. Now, one of the things that's sort of amazing about this particular incident is that in order to get to this planter, they had to walk the entire length of a greenhouse. I mean, that's pretty brave. I guess we've been too nice to the bunnies and stuff around here. They're not afraid of us. They don't hardly run when we're out there because we don't bother them. That's all the Touchstone Golds. One of the things that makes it particularly frustrating this year is that we've had some interesting germination issues, which I will be talking about later. But these came up beautifully, just absolutely wonderful. And it was really devastating, I think is a nice word, to lose the whole thing. Especially when it was a stupid mistake on our part. It reminds me of another video I watched this morning. Another homesteader YouTuber was saying she had lost some rhubarb plants and it was her own fault. She just didn't water enough last year when it got too dry. We've also lost rhubarb in the past. because someone else was taking care of the garden for us while we were out of town, and we had exactly the opposite problem. Hers died of thirst, probably. Ours were drowned, because no matter how many times I tell people how the beds work, some people just can't get it through their heads how they work. So instead of checking below the surface of the ground to see how the plants were doing and how the soil was doing, they assumed that because the top was dry, they needed to water more, and they drowned them. So, yeah. Okay, there we go. Now, we have the beets replanted. I'm going to get some water and water these in nicely. And then we're going to make sure that door is always closed. We have solved one of the issues in here so that we can now close that door all the time. And a replacement part for our window opener should be arriving this afternoon. So that should solve the other problem. We have automatic window openers in here, and since the windows are right at the top of the peak of the roof, it gives good cross ventilation. But you're supposed to take them off in the wintertime. And this one in particular, because it's a south-facing window, needed to have that taken off, because otherwise when we get a warmer day, it hits about, about 80 degrees and it wants to open. We want to keep the heat inside. It was removed and totally misplaced. So hopefully it will show up eventually. I've told Henry when it shows up, because it will. It's just a matter of when, whether it shows up tomorrow or 6 months from now. I'm going to keep it in my desk drawer so that it can't possibly wander off again. So, I hope this gives you a little insight into the kind of issues that we sometimes have at this location. How brazen wildlife can be sometimes. You know, I expect a rodent, a rat, or something like that to come in during the night. This was broad daylight. We do see bunnies on a regular basis in broad daylight here because they're not harassed. This is a very wild environment. And yeah, they had a really lovely meal of beet greens. As I told Henry, I hope they get a stomach ache from eating too much. Honestly, it was just one of those moments when you're really ticked off. But we're going to replant. It'll be fine. And hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll have a good report, about an update on how great our beets are doing. And then a couple of weeks later, hopefully I'll have a report on which beet Henry likes better. And we do still have carrots. In fact, I think I have a radish that's about ready to come out. And so they were damaged, but they weren't really demolished. Woo. Overflowing now, officially. So that means our bed is full. If you have questions about wicking beds, see the iCard for information on how to make wicking beds. There's a video of Henry actually making this bed. And in case you're wondering why I'm all bundled up today, it was 80 degrees yesterday and it was 37 this morning. So it's spring in northern Arizona. Hope this inspires you to keep on fighting the good fight when it comes to growing your own, even if sometimes you have setbacks. See you next time.